Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. This is sort of an extra special edition. Well, or an extra edition. How special it is will be up to you. I'm talking about Berlioz Overtures with Charles Munch and the Boston Symphony. Whoa. Now, everybody knows that Charles Munch is the Berlioz guy, right? And everybody is supposed to kind of like Berlioz. And if you don't like him, you're supposed to admire him. To be honest, I feel kind of guilty about Berlioz because he was unquestionably a great composer, a revolutionary composer, an amazing writer. I mean, he is in some ways the archetypical romantic firebrand, along with like Liszt and people like that. And I mean, he was like the Liszt of the orchestra. But the problem with Berlioz, and it really is a bit of an issue, is that he wrote mostly huge, grandiose works. And they're not easy. And his style was incredibly individual. And it takes time. It takes time to assimilate. It takes time to sit down and listen to everything. I mean, he wanted to do things on the largest possible scale. And quite frankly, that's kind of exhausting. I mean, it can be tiring to listen to it. And how often can you listen to it? And it's very difficult to do well. And most people don't do it well. I mean, Munch did it very, very well. But there are the overtures. And the irony with the overtures is that although they're short and enjoyable and delicious, and some of them are popular enough. I mean, Roman Carnival, for example, I mean, they're popular enough. But the problem is that they're not huge. So when Berlioz does things that aren't huge, people sort of just shunt them aside even more than they shunt aside the things that are huge. I mean, Berlioz encountered this problem in his lifetime. Most of his music was virtually unplayable by the forces then in existence. And so the overtures get very little attention, except for two, actually. I mean, the Roman Carnival and the Corsaire. Those are the two that you get to hear, fairly regularly, that I've seen, that I've played, that we've actually done. Sometimes Benvenuto Cellini gets trucked out for some sort of, festival or occasion, but essentially not much. And it's a shame. And so for this edition of the greatest recordings ever, I think it's time to give the Berlioz Overtures their due, because this is the greatest ever disc of Berlioz Overtures. There have not been that many. I mean, all things considered. There's a wonderful disc by Gibson and the Scottish National Orchestra on Chandos. I mean, some really good stuff there. Thomas Beecham did them, not in a clump, but, his Corsaire Overture is probably the coolest out there. It's just amazing. And a couple others. And so there have been some discs. Colin Davis did one also on RCA, same as here. With, I think, the Staatskapelle Dresden. It was good. It was very good because his Berlioz is always very good. And he also did them on Philips, or some of them on Philips. I mean, so they've been done. They've been done, but always as an aside, always as a sort of, addition to the really serious Berlioz stuff. And so I really want to give this disc some love. It's wonderful. What you get is Roman Carnival, of course. You get Beatrice and Benedict. You get the Corsaire. Of course, I love the Corsaire. Oh my God. I mean, the climax of the Corsaire with the brass come in with that. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da da. Oh my goodness, it's thrilling. And then we've got, let's see, the Royal Hunt and Storm from the Trojans. Oh, what an amazing piece from Les Troyens. It's a big tone poem, and you have people screaming Italy, optionally, and, most of the time. And then we've got Benvenuto Cellini and the Romeo and Juliet Queen Mab Scherzo. Now notice, he didn't do King Lear, he didn't do Rob Roy, he didn't do Waverley. I mean, there are more. But, for the most popular ones anyway, and some interesting other things, I mean, specifically the Les Troyens thing, the Royal Hunt and Storm, which is just glorious. And then you also get, as a sort of fillip, this is the RCA Gold Seal reissue, Saint-Saëns, Le Rouet d'Omphale, Omphale's spinning wheel, which is a wonderful tone poem in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, you got to have a disc of Berlioz Overtures. And if you're going to do it, well, here's the way to go, because they are just absolutely stunningly played passionate, spontaneous, marvelously recorded, everything that we love Charles Munch for. He stuffed in to his interpretations of the Berlioz overtures. So you can't really do better, and you can find the other ones, as you please. But let's give the overtures some love, shall we? I mean, they're just wonderful. It may be chips off the master's bench, but they're big chips. They're like barbecued flavored, ripple cut, extra thick chips. Really good chips. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.